In case you don't know, CHROMA received an upgrade in the Isleweaver update. But the question though, is this enough to make you interested in playing the Warframe? Let's find out. So CHROMA received an improvement to his Guardian Armor Augment. In the past, this Warframe Augment mod causes squad kills within affinity range to increase the duration of Vex armor by 1 second and trigger health regeneration. In exchange, CHROMA will take 50% of the damage that squad mates take to health. Supposedly, this is a fix to building the damage stack of CHROMA and keeping Vex armor active all the time. But since the upgrade to CHROMA, wherein you can increase your Scorn buff doing melee kills and get the max benefit of the elemental damage boost of Fury when doing kills with your guns. I'm really glad that Digital Extremes decided to change how Guardian armor works, because it was kind of a redundant mod. Right now, CHROMA's Guardian armor gives your teammates 75% damage reduction within affinity range, and it still lets you recover health and increase the duration of Vex armor per squad kills. This is really a huge improvement in my opinion, as first, it's affinity range, that's 50 meters range, and your team will get the 75% damage reduction when they are within that range. Also, the damage reduction from Guardian armor, an augment mod for CHROMA's Vex armor, does stack with other damage reduction sources in Warframe, including those from other Warframe abilities and mods like Adaptation. However, the stacking is multiplicative, meaning each source reduces the remaining damage, not the original amount. Just a quick info for new players. Damage reduction from different sources in Warframe is generally calculated multiplicatively. This means that each source reduces the remaining damage after the previous source has been applied. If you have 50% damage reduction from one source and 50% from another, they don't add up to 100%. Instead, the second 50% is applied to the remaining 50% of the damage, resulting in a total of 75% damage reduction. If somehow you got a total Eclipse Mirage in your team, then it's possible to further lower the damage received by your squad. It's really a huge quality of life improvement for CHROMA, but here's the downside about the augment. CHROMA is not affected by the damage reduction buff, and only his teammates can benefit from it. Yes, it really sucks because the 75% damage reduction will be helpful to CHROMA's survivability. With high armor values plus the damage reduction, CHROMA can potentially become a decent tank in Steel Path levels. Honestly, armor alone isn't enough to help CHROMA survive in Steel Path and beyond levels. If you get hit by a Blitz Eximus, then you are so fucked when playing CHROMA. As a new player, I initially thought that high armor and big health bars make Warframes unkillable. That's not true. Enemies, specifically in Steel Path and beyond, hit much harder and move faster than in normal missions. If you only rely on armor and health, you'll drop fast. You need more than raw stats to survive. You need tools that reduce damage in smarter ways. First, armor has limits. Yes, it cuts damage, but not all damage types are affected. Slash damage from enemies can bypass armor with bleed effects. Toxin and heat damage can burn through shields and armor before you can react. Even 10,000 armors won't save you if enemies keep applying status effects, and Steel Path enemies throw status around like candy. Warframes like CHROMA or Inneros have high health and armor, but they still go down if you don't have a way to block or avoid status damage. That's why pure tank builds are often bait. They look strong, but they crumble when enemies apply the right damage type. In addition, the damage reduction is tempting in paper, but most players would prefer shield gating and overguard when it comes to survivability right now in Warframe. Let's face it, like it or not, shield gating just breaks all the survivability setup in the game. When your shield breaks, you get a short moment of invincibility. If you recover shields fast enough, you can keep getting that invincibility again and again. That means every shield break resets the gate. You stay alive by cycling your abilities. It's not about being a sponge, it's about avoiding hits that kill in 1 second. Now in terms of overguard, it's like a second health bar that protects your actual health and stops crowd control effects like knockdowns and staggers. Giving your pistol secondary fortifier will give you decent survivability through overguard in Steel Path levels, and many players prefer this over damage reduction. Because if you have 90% damage reduction in Steel Path, that's a great survivability already. But remember that you get hit by multiple enemies, and without overguard and shield gating, high armor values and damage reduction won't be enough, in my opinion. Right now in Warframe, damage reduction from armor and health tanking feels like dead weight in Steel Path and high-level content. Enemies hit too hard. Armor scaling hasn't kept up. You can stack thousands of armor and still get deleted in a second. Health builds don't stand a chance without shield gating or invulnerability tricks. That's why players skip tank builds and rely on overguard, rolling guards, and shield mechanics instead. It's not about how much health you have anymore. It's about how long you can avoid real damage. Armor was supposed to make you feel like a tank, but it only works if you also have damage immunity, fast healing, or ways to stop damage outright. Take Nidus, Grendel, or even Valkyr. They have thick health pools but need lifesteal, damage reduction abilities, or invulnerable states just to keep up. On their own, high health and armor are useless. You don't get to soak hits like in other games. Warframe enemies don't give you time. They swarm you and shred you in seconds. Health tanking used to work in 2014. In 2025, it's just bait. The only way this can be fixed is if Digital Extremes finally does a full rework of how damage reduction and armor scaling works. No more stacking percentages that fall apart with high enemy damage. They need to flatten the damage curve or make armor and health actually matter past level 100. Maybe introduce proper diminishing returns for enemy damage or cap the burst damage from some enemies. Whatever the method, the system needs a clean overhaul. Otherwise, health and armor builds will always be second class to overguard, shield gating, and brief invincibility windows. Well, I think I'm just asking too much from the developers, honestly. So, let's just see what the future holds for health tanking warframes like CHROMA. Right now, the Guardian augment is really one of the best augments for CHROMA in team plays, but still, I honestly think that the Warframe needs a proper rework. So that's all about it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.